You're with the Foamy Heads.
We've been drinking.
Yeah. No, I've only had one beer.
Oh, well, I'm on my first beer. I'm almost done with my first beer.
You need to finish that up.
I do. What
We have a few that we're having today.
Yeah.
I'm excited. This is going to be interesting because we are doing. It's going to be a local episode.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm excited. But welcome to another episode of the Foamy Heads.
Yeah.
You're with Rich and Mitch on the mics today. It's just two of us. We had DJ last week.
Hell yeah, that's right.
And he's somewhere now, but we did that when we were when we did the Black Tuesday and all that. So
That's right.
I think maybe later on we can get into maybe a little bit of what we might be getting later this week.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that'll be interesting. But that's
Everything's en route as long as it arrives safe and sound and it's accurate.
yes. Today should be interesting. More of a local episode. I think we're going to kind of keep it in the Nashville scene. So there's a lot of different breweries that are located in Nashville, but there's kind of a couple of big ones. But today I think we're just going to kind of keep it with Bearded Iris. We're going to be drinking. I say 4. I don't know how far we'll get, but
Let's see.
we don't have to drink a whole can each. I'm not sure yet.
No.
This should be interesting, though. We've got 4 Bearded Irish beers in front of us. I think it'd be interesting to just go 1, 2, 3, 4 and just kind of drink them back to back.
I think that's a good plan. We got what?
Again and again.
Again and again, which is
their pale ale.
Pale ale.
So that one was released, I think, for the first time a couple of years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and it was really good. And they haven't released it since, so I'm very interested that it's back out.
It has been a minute, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then another first for them, I think we're going to go in the next order, is their newest IPA. It's actually a clear IPA, so there's no haze in this. This is going to be very different from any other IPA that Bearded Iris has put out.
Yeah, they were strongly on the hazy side from start to current day, right?
Home style.
Home style. That's their main thing.
Super juicy, super hazy. You know, that's their flagship beer, and that's kind of what they are known for in Nashville, is seen as the hazy IPAs.
That's true.
So this will be a departure from them. And then we've got a couple of more that we'll get into. Awesome Blossom is their newest double IPA, one of their newest double IPAs that just came out recently with Denali and Citra hops, so that should be interesting.
Ooh.
And then we'll finish off with Attention Please, which has kind of become one of their, whenever they release it, people just flock to go get it.
It's a good one.
It's such a good one.
That's one that my boss really likes, too. It's one way to get them out of the office.
Yeah.
All right.
Grab one of these real quick. We'll start with the Again and Again, and we just kind of talk about it because it's been years since I've had this beer. Yeah,
and I guess per our show, what are we drinking?
We're drinking Again and Again.
Oh, again?
Again. I get a little excited and I just jump right into it.
Yeah, man. The Again and Again is going to be badass. Do we want to just split that can, or do we?
Yeah, we could do that because we've got 4 beers in front of us today. So let me.
Not a bad day.
No, not at all. Oh, shit, it's got all over me.
Thought I had a bottle of water over here. I don't. So I will just hand you the glass, sir. Thank you.
It's super citrusy.
Dang. Yeah, that looks good, dude.
Blackberry and clementine notes is what this pale is typically known for.
Interesting. It's been a minute since I've been over to the brewery. Did you go by the brewery and pick this up today?
Yeah, stopped by today. They had a couple of new ones that I really wanted to try. They had a sour, one of their Flamingo Road sours. I'm just not really a big fan of sours. I was really hoping to pick up their latest V Latte, which is always made with a local coffee, around in the Nashville area. So they like to partner with different.
We got several here.
Coffee makers in Nashville. Yeah, so that was out, unfortunately. But I did get their newest ones that they had, which was the Awesome Blossom and then the Sunglasses Needed, which is their clear IPA. But I went in with the intention to just pick up a couple of each so that we could have them today, and then I just looked at their fridge and started grabbing whatever I could, and I walked out with $80 worth of beer.
Yes.
Probably not the right move to make, but
a good one.
oh well.
Well, let's get hydrated, man.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one again.
Again and again.
I will say though,
Whoa, the nose on that.
Mm-hmm.
That's classic Bearded Iris.
Yes.
It's hard to describe to viewer or listeners, but it's very.
There's a very distinct taste.
Yes.
That Bearded Iris IPAs have. This smells like that taste.
If you've walked into a brewery before for a tour, and you smell like, what?
Yeast and citrus is
Pretty
kind
much.
of.
I'm trying to think of not the wort, but there's a certain area that you can just smell the brewery in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the malting processes and just, I don't know. I'm probably not being completely accurate because it's been a while since I've taken a tour, but this reminds me of even when you walk into Bearded Iris,
Mm-hmm.
you smell
it instantly.
this smells like the environment. So
Mhm.
it's reminded me of Nashville in a way because Bearded Iris Nashville
Yep.
and etc. So the aroma is very just reminiscent of the actual facility itself. So if you've been a fan of the brewing process, you've been behind the scenes,
Mhm.
you kind of get that on the nose.
Yes.
That's where I was trying to go with it.
Well, you got
but,
there.
Eventually.
There's no foamy head though. I mean, like it poured really quick and then it dissipates really fast, and it's super citrusy, very bright.
Mm-hmm. Definitely similar to an orange juice there.
Yeah, it looked. I'm gonna take a sip too.
Oh man. Yeah, I kind of preemptively went in on that. I
That's
smelled
okay.
it. I tasted it. It's definitely pale ale.
Yeah.
Every time for a while now we've had Bearded Iris throughout this year. It's been a double IPA or triple. It's kind of been the thing. And now that we're starting on the lower end, I can definitely tell the difference with a just pale ale.
Mm-hmm.
This is pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely be on a lake or something with this one.
This is definitely an easy drinking beer. We're looking at 5.5% alcohol by volume. Typical, regular, middle of the road alcohol for a pale ale.
Yeah.
I do kind of feel like it's missing something. Like this is definitely, I 100% agree with you. This is one of those beers where you could be out on the lake, you could drink it. You're not going to feel overly full while you're drinking it. It's
right.
crisp, it's light, citrusy, but I just kind of feel like when I take a sip, it's all up on the front.
It really is.
And then it just disappears into nothing. And I kind of want something to linger at the end. And maybe that's not what this beer is supposed to be, but I feel like all the flavors up front and then it turns into nothing in the end.
I think you're right. It's very accurate. It makes me thirsty after I drink it, kind of. Sort of a bitterness that lingers but then fades, but it's enough to make me drink again.
You want some more of it.
Yeah.
Again and again.
Again and again.
Hey. But this is good though. I applaud Bearded Iris for doing this because them being in the IPA game, right, and the citrusy and the hazy and the juicy and all that, and this is juicy and it is very citrusy, but it's a pale ale. It's not, it's not an IPA, which technically is the form, a form of pale ale, but this is not quite an IPA status, so it's not hoppy. It's a little bit bitter, but it's not super hoppy. And this is kind of a regular departure from what they're used to doing. And I appreciate that they're doing that because they're stepping out a little bit more. Stouts, sours, they're doing all these different kinds of beers now. And this was one of the very first, actually might have been the first pale ale that they've ever done, if I'm not mistaken. They've done a couple of porters and kolsches and things like that in the beginning days, but they kind of figured out what they're good at. Yeah. And they just, they stick to IPAs and they stick to, the limited releases of stouts and sours. So this was very interesting that they brought this back. In my opinion, it's good, but this kind of shows how far they've come from when they first started, because while it is a good beer, there's much better that they've produced out there since.
That's true. I'm just glad I don't see the non-IPA that they made a while back or when they first started, Shipwreck.
Porter.
Right? Porter,
I think Shipwreck was a porter.
That was rough.
Yeah.
That wasn't very good at all, unfortunately. Yeah, that thing was just because I went there
Ship-shape.
definitely ship-shape
Porter.
ship-shape. Yes. Yeah.
An English porter. I remember that one. I don't think it did so well. So I mean, like, I haven't seen it.
I don't think they brought it back, and if they did, I'm sure they'd do it better. But I think they called that vanilla fudge and V latte, and I think they went into the right direction rather than just doing a basic porter.
Yep. Well, and Bearded Iris is known for doing, most of their beers taste relatively the same. They've got the same base, and then they just add different hop varieties in it.
That's
but
true.
It's different from any other beer that's produced out of Nashville. Ship-shape was kind of like one of those. It's a porter.
Yeah, it was.
It was an attempt to bring out a beer that wasn't their style and to appease the people that came in looking for something like that. But it really didn't do all that great. I'm looking at it, and the last time I checked it in was June of 2017. So
wow,
it's been over 2 years.
Yeah, it has.
Since I've had it, and then the first time, December of 2016. So
2016, wow.
Yeah.
So Bearded Iris had its 3-year, right?
Yes. That would have been their first. That was their first. In fact, remember when they released Triple Homestyle? That was their 3-year anniversary that they had. So yeah, they were around, and I think 2016 was their first year in business.
That's awesome. They're doing awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here.
I don't know, man. The more I drink this, what did I give this last time? Because that's what I want to know what I gave this last time, because I'm not really sure I would give it the same rating. If I rate it, it's not a bad beer.
No.
I just feel like it's missing something. 3.75. I gave this a 3.75 last time. I'm not really sure that I would.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would go with that this time.
No, this was more of a just solid 3 for me.
Yeah.
Middle of the road, because it's been 2 years. I mean, I don't know if I've had it again since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really bad about checking my beers in for history, but the again and again, when I see it, I do get it because it's a familiar name. But this is definitely something to get if I'm hot outside. I walk into a brewery and I want something that's not super heavy again and again.
Yeah.
But it does have a certain lack of something. I'd want to water with it because I just get thirsty from drinking it.
Yeah.
Rather than having a leftover taste of something, a hop or some sort of other bitterness to focus on.
Well, I'm glad we split one can.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I would have had the whole beer, but I think that there's better sitting in front of us.
I think so too. I guess it's time for a rinse break.
I think so.
All right, we're back.
We're back.
What are we drinking?
This next one is the newest IPA from Bearded Iris. Sunglasses Needed.
Sunglasses Needed. This is the non-hazy?
Yeah, this is a non-hazy. They're calling it a clear IPA, but basically it is a non-hazy IPA. This is a departure from what they are normally used to brewing, because Bearded Iris has very much become known for the hazy, juicy style IPAs. So this is supposedly something very different. It's still a single. It's not a double. I think it sits around 5.8% ABV or something like that. 5.7, 5.8.
5.8.
5.8. So again, should be another easy drinker before we get into the heavy hitters.
So I've read the 3 hops they have in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not familiar with 2 out of 3.
So what does it say?
Styrian Wolf.
Never heard of that.
Simcoe, which we hear a lot
Yep.
about. Haze Eraser.
I don't think that's a hop. I think I think they typically, so like their pale ale, for example, they always have 3 words to describe whatever's at the bottom of that. I don't know if Haze Eraser is considered a hop, or I think it's just kind of more of like their spin on it.
You're correct.
Okay. So
I've done the Google.
Google's never wrong.
The Styrian Wolf is indeed a hop, though.
Yes.
I never knew about that one.
There's so many hops out there, though,
There's
Mitch.
too
That's
many.
the problem and that's what inspires most of these IPAs is, you can just throw a whole bunch of different hops together and it tastes different. So
That's true.
This should be interesting.
Oh, here we go.
I'm
We're getting
pouring
in
this
it.
up. We're going to post this. So we're going to probably put this on the Foamy Heads Instagram page. So definitely check it out. Comment below if you've had any of these beers that we're drinking. You'll see all 4 of them. If you've had any of them, which one you like the best, mention that. If you think that we drank them out of order, which is probably going to happen at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Let us know. We're just really interested on feedback. That's all.
Ooh. All right. So we've got a pretty decent foamy head on that one.
Yeah. Let's see your glass, Mitch.
Thank you.
Richard's pouring today.
That's right. Pouring like a champ.
Yeah, I am.
I always forget, like, the cans are meant to be like a pretty good, like, aggressive pour.
Yeah.
That was something for me I'm still trying to fix it in my brain whenever I do pour it. But
well, it's most times when people are pouring beer straight out of like a can or a bottle, because they see it in a restaurant where they put the glass to the side to try to eliminate most of the foam or most of the head. That's not necessarily a good thing to do, because aggressively pouring a beer kind of releases the aromas and the flavors within a beer. And some beers will actually say on the side, pour aggressively.
They need to. Yeah, they do, because it's just not something that people pick up on, I don't think.
I think that if, and people kind of get scared when they first see it start to foam over. They're like, oh, well, I don't have this, there's not as much beer. It's going to dissipate.
Yes.
You're still getting the same amount of beer. Don't be upset about that.
It's kind of like soda, I would think. People have always poured soda quick, and the foam just like comes over the glass or whatever, and it's a bad thing. We associate it with bad, but with the beer, it's quick, and
this is definitely clear.
It is.
This is not your typical, like, if somebody were to pour this into a glass and hand it to me and say, hey, what brewery did this come from? Bearded Irish would have probably been the last on the list, if even on the list.
Yeah, it would depend too. Yeah, for sure. Like local, or is it just anything and anybody? I still wouldn't place Bearded Iris on that.
No, there's no haze whatsoever. It doesn't look juicy at all.
No.
I mean, sunglasses needed. That's kind of the play on words that they're using here. Is it's bright, it's not cloudy.
Yeah.
It's gonna require, you can see probably through this thing at a good 40%. So I mean, it's not clear, but it's not hazy by any means.
No, yeah, it's definitely cleaner than the typical haziness, and
Foamy Head stays.
It does. It went down a little bit, but it left some legs to it, and we take for granted what we're pouring out of from sometimes, but most of the times it's cans.
Yes.
And Bearded Iris, I don't think I've ever had a bottled Bearded Iris.
Do it.
It's either tap or draft or can.
Or can. They did, remember when they had their 2-year party when they released a couple limited editions when they were doing a collaboration with some other breweries. They released a 2-pack of, they had a barley wine and then they had a chocolate stout. Those came in bottles.
Yes.
But that's not a regular release.
Right.
It's not something that they're coming at. Other than that, they've never done bottles before. It's always been cans or draft.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into this.
Let's try this out.
Oh, it's kind of floral and kind of soapy smelling to me.
Yeah. That is the most non-Bearded Iris tasting Bearded Iris beer that I've ever had.
True statement. In 3 years.
This tastes nothing like I mean, well, hold on a second.
It's interesting. Because I know it's Bearded Iris, I want to say
you can taste that
there's a
Bearded Iris backbone on it. Maybe a little bit.
But this is very reminiscent of the majority of local just IPAs. Sunglasses needed.
It's a little sweet.
Yeah.
It's not as hoppy as I thought it was going to be.
No, it's a little dry.
A little dry, yeah. I think it's, and I know nothing about the Styrian Wolf hops. Simcoe hops kind of provide a little bit more of the bitterness. They're a little bit lower on the alpha acid unit scale, but they're still to the point where they can either provide, aroma or they can provide flavor. But I kind of feel like they're doing all the work in this beer, because whatever hops are left on, besides that, they're just not showing through. It's not a very hoppy beer.
No, the Styrian Wolf hop the purpose is listed as bittering and aroma.
Bittering and aroma, so similar to the Simcoe then.
Yeah.
Well, how does that sound though? I mean, what's your take on that? They're releasing something that they haven't released before, so they have Attention Please, and they've got Awesome Blossom. They've got these double IPAs that are like super hazy and juicy and high alcohol content, and then they have this one right here, a 5.8% clear IPA that tastes nothing like anything they've ever produced for. Is that smart on them to release those side by side?
I think it's smart to release it at its current point in time alongside their heavy hitters, like their main staples, I should say. Because depending on the sales on sunglasses needed, they'll see if there's like a market for like a clear IPA, because they've always been about the hazy.
Yeah.
I think they're looking for a new market to pitch at with their beers, because we're 3 years strong with the hazy IPAs from Bearded Iris, but I don't know what to expect from them past that.
Yeah.
They've come out with some great collaborations with the chocolate places here for their fudge series.
The V-Fudge, yeah.
And especially the local coffee stuff we mentioned earlier.
With the V
they
latte.
Constantly are pushing that out because it's yet another good market that people are definitely looking to buy from. But it's just, the IPA is really why you go to Bearded Iris most of the time, until they say, here's a new stout or something. And it's just odd to me that the Sunglasses Needed clear IPA, it's one of the things I probably wouldn't choose from another local brewery that I see on tap, because I know what it's about.
Yeah.
So that being said, it's like, it's a toss-up on what I choose if I see this on the tap list alongside other clear IPAs. I don't know if I enjoy it enough to choose it again.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I don't dislike this IPA. I feel like this is an attempt.
Yeah.
This is an attempt to kind of feel the market to see, is there something else out here that we can go into? You know, like you mentioned Ship-Shape Porter earlier.
Right.
It was just like, again, they were still trying to find their style. They had home style. They had like their flagship beer, but they were kind of like, well, let's see what else is available. And they threw Ship-Shape out there, and it was just kind of like, it was okay. You know, and then they kind of took that feedback, and they were like, well, this just isn't something that we're going to pursue. A non-hazy IPA from Bearded Iris may be a different potential revenue stream. Like maybe it's a different way that they're going to go to see if they can grab another group of people that aren't necessarily on board with just super juicy hazy IPAs.
Here's another idea.
Okay.
They tried it out. No, it's not that great. Slap the name on it to sell it anyway.
Maybe.
I don't know.
It tastes incomplete to me.
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm thinking.
It doesn't taste like, and who knows? Maybe. I mean, this is two people's opinions, right? Two beer drinkers' opinions. For all I know, well, let's check on Taft, because I'm wondering. I've never heard of Styrian hops or whatever it was. What was this? Styrian Wolf hops. And if this is competing with Simcoe, they probably did an experiment. But once you've made enough of a product to sell and expected at least a general taste, right? Like this is how it should come out, should be fine to sell, shouldn't be a loss, but it won't be probably great. Yeah. And maybe they'll take this as an opportunity, maybe they'll improve it, maybe they'll come out with it again. I don't know. I
feel like this is one we won't see again, but I bet we will see Styrian Wolf and something else, some other hop of something. I wonder, I'm curious now, because Styrian Wolf sounds cool to me, but
it's a cool sounding name.
It is.
So just looking at Untapped, it's got a 3.97 average rating.
I think their brand is still giving them a lot of good ratings.
Kind of what it is. But at the same time, most Bearded Iris beers on Untapped are much higher.
True.
On the average, they're around 4.25 or so. So the fact that this one is rating typically less than your other Bearded Iris IPAs and your other, in general, Bearded Iris brews on Untapped is saying something about this beer that people, they're trying it out. There's quite a few check-ins on it already, but they're not really giving it the love. I think they're
Right.
kind of giving it a little bit more because it's Bearded Irish, like they want to like it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, and maybe we're wrong.
Hey. Yeah, I think we're probably wrong, but hey,
Maybe
it's
we
fun
are
to.
wrong. I'm not disappointed that I tried it, but I'm with you. I would struggle to choose this over another IPA if I were to see them sitting side by side.
That's true. I think it's time for a rinse.
We're back.
Yeah, we are. Oh,
Starting now.
that sounded good.
This next one is I was struggling whether or not we wanted to do the Awesome Blossom, which is their newest double IPA, or if I wanted to go into Attention Please.
Oh, yeah.
Attention Please is kind of like we both know what it tastes like.
Yep.
Or at least we both had it before. It's been a while since I've had it, but we've had it before. I want to kind of, because we're coming off of a lower IPA, I wanted to dive into something that you haven't had.
Yeah.
I've had this one, and I think it's really good. But I'm very interested to see what you think about it as well.
It's getting rave reviews for sure.
Let's see your glass, Mitch.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
What let's see here.
Double IPA with Zappa hops, which are somewhere around well, I was looking it up earlier, the 7 to 9% alpha acid unit. So it is mainly, it's used more for the bittering purposes than it is for the aroma purposes. So,
oh, interesting.
and that's, and the Denali hops as well are kind of in the medium range of the alpha acid units, but Citra hops are my favorite hops. They're so I'm glad that this is probably why I like this beer the most. Or actually, I like this beer because it contains one of my favorite hops.
And that's Citra.
Citra hops. DJ turned me on to that one, but I think my favorite triple IPA currently at the moment was Citra from Decadent Ales, which is a podcast that I kind of just jumped on and started talking about it, and then we kind of threw out there a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it was a good short segment of just what Citra is about.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Definitely scroll down a little bit, check out that one on the podcasting list, and it's an easy 10-minute podcast. It's just Richard's thoughts of this beer that he had to jump in and try. So
hell yeah,
I thought it was really good. But yeah, Awesome Blossom has Citra hops in it.
I smell Citra. I feel
along with Zappa hops. So this is I think we're in for a good treat here today.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it.
Absolutely.
The foamy head kind of went away pretty quickly.
It's a little bit stays, but it's definitely not what it was when we first poured it. And it was an aggressive pour too.
Yeah.
Very bright, though, if you notice. Like, it's very orange juicy.
It is.
Yeah. So
that would make a great photo session right there.
They call this one pillowy, and I'm not really sure what that means other than it's kind of a softer tasting IPA. So, I don't know. Maybe you'll get that. Maybe you won't.
Oh, man. It smells great. I couldn't tell you exactly how it smelled, but it's definitely a bearded iris smell. Huh. Interesting.
Let's jump in, Mitch.
Ooh, it's extra bitter compared. Lingers for a bit.
Yep.
Mmm.
The bearded iris
flavorful
taste to me is right in the middle.
Yeah.
Of that, when you first drink it, it tastes just like orange juice or grapefruit juice. Like it's really that thick, juicy that kind of coats the back of your throat.
Yeah. And
then the bearded iris unique, staple flavor kicks in the middle, and then it just kind of lingers with bitterness.
Yeah.
What
that's
I get out of
pretty accurate. Yeah.
It's super tasty.
That's really good. It's Awesome Blossom.
This was their, I wouldn't say it's their newest IPA because I think the one that they released after it was Another Suggestion, which I have a can of that at home, I think, just kind of sitting in my fridge waiting. But this one was released, I think, just a little bit beforehand. But this tastes just like the double IPA from Bearded Irish that I've come to expect.
Yes.
And it sits at 8.1. I mean, it's a double IPA.
So this kind of brings me up to the question I wanted to ask is like why are we so attached to Bearded Iris and Nashville? Because In the past, we haven't uploaded any of the episodes that we were just kind of gearing up for, but it was a lot of Bearded Iris episodes. We had tons of IPAs from them. We stocked up on them. We love Bearded Iris. We drink Bearded Iris.
Yep.
Yeah, all their stuff, of course, is what surprises me the most probably about Bearded Iris is that whatever I can get in a can tastes almost as good as on tap.
Yes.
It's almost, the consistency is across the board.
Mm-hmm.
When they have a failure, like, we talked about earlier, shipwreck or whatever, ship shape.
Yeah.
It was a shipwreck. And, it just wasn't there. And then it went away. And of course they just found their target market with the double IPAs, triples and all that. But it's been interesting just seeing the crowds that just
flock towards Bearded Iris.
They fervently follow them. Like they just always there.
Yeah.
I haven't been to a single Bearded Iris event because I know there's going to be 1,000 people in line.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that says something about yourself as a brewery. Number one, if you're going to release something new,
no, that was
people are going to flock to it. At the same time, why do people flock to Bearded Iris every time they release something new? Is it because they want something that is new? I mean, is it because they're releasing something every other week? Is it because they just like the Bearded Iris flavor? Or is it because they're supporting their local brewery?
That's a big one, probably.
Yeah.
Nashville.
But we've got a lot of Nashville breweries.
We do.
But I mean, out of all the Nashville breweries, there's only a couple that really, time and time again, when people come into town, they go, hey, I keep hearing I need to go check out Southern Grist.
Yes.
And Bearded Iris.
Which, at the beginning of our recordings, we always forgot about Southern Grist.
Every single time.
But now they're a huge staple. Yep. Like, there was a huge mood shift at some point between 2018 and, current day 2019. Something just shifted where you can't not know about Southern Grist without knowing Bearded Iris. So, that's awesome.
I'm a big fan, though. So, I guess going back to your initial question, what is it about?
Oh yeah,
Bearded Iris that gets people flocking to them? That's going. Is it only because it's a local brewery? Maybe, but I think there's more than that because again, we have a lot of Nashville breweries that people just don't line up out the door towards.
Right.
I think it is, and I attribute this to Bearded Iris when they started coming out with new beers every other week. And then they start staggering these releases of hey, remember this from 2 years ago? It's coming back. Mm-hmm. And then they create this demand, this the desire for you to say, hey, I need to go there. I need to get this beer. They've gotten really good at that. And I find myself wanting to go try the newest Bearded Iris beer. Definitely. Even though I'm not a big fan of standing in line, I may not stand in line overnight to get a new beer. But I'm going to seek it out if I can find it. Yeah. And I attribute Bearded Iris to that mentality that I have about craft beer. I'm in the search for the perfect beer. And I'm always looking for something new. If it's stacked up against something I've already had, give me the one that I haven't had yet. Yeah. I'm going to go for that one because I'm always looking for something different.
That's a good point. I was in it for the consistency, but that is true. Because, I mean, they've been across the board. You're not typically disappointed by Bearded Iris.
Nope.
And they are always generating new IPAs with new, different hops. As we could tell with Sunglasses Needed, they try something new.
They did try something new. We'll just leave it at that.
That's right. So,
that was mean. I shouldn't have said that.
Aww.
I didn't dislike Sunglasses Needed. I just didn't feel like it was...
Yeah,
one of their better efforts. I think it was kind of an attempt to say, hey, do we have another group of people that we're excluding with our hazies, and maybe we can include... I don't know. It just felt unfinished to me. Right. That's all I'll say about that.
I think we'll see a next step that we won't even be aware of that will be what it is because of Sunglasses Needed.
And you know what, though? Maybe this same methodology has been used throughout their entire existence, and we just haven't really thought about it. I mean, they tried Ship Shape, they tried all these other pale ales and IPAs, and at the end of the day, they said, okay, what sells for us? And it's hazy double IPAs. Yeah. So maybe this is another iteration in them attempting to perfect their beer and try to come out with something and kind of feel their audience again. In which case, I'm okay with that.
Totally.
You know, if you're gonna blindly pull the wool over my eyes, and as long as I get to enjoy some new craft beers, I'm okay with that.
That's true. And what is the epitome of keeping business? Do you just have your staples that are always good, or do you just keep fucking shit up?
They seem to be doing a little bit of both, to
That's
be
right.
honest, because
That's
home
true.
style, you know, and offbeat, you can
I guess I
always
should
find
say
cans.
mixing things up rather
Mixing
than
things up, because it takes a lot for Bearded Iris to completely fuck something
Yeah.
up. I will say that.
It's we haven't seen anything since Ship Shape or even their like mixture or I guess their step into some sours and some of that scene. It's always been okay. Like Mood Ring, for example, it was still good.
Yeah.
It,
A fruited IPA.
Right.
They always release it. They always release it a few times a year, and they're just always improving on it, I think.
Yeah.
I do remember first having it, and I was like, I just
Right.
can't get on board, but they kept moving it.
But
and
people
shaping
wanted it.
around,
Yeah.
And it's every time when it comes out, now I go try it.
Yeah.
It's that mentality of they created something new.
Oh, and there's that whole new shift too that Nashville's had, and I guess it's been about 2 years, where now you can get, instead of having to always get a 16-ounce pour, you can get 5 ounces, I think,
Yeah.
or tasters even, before you can, or before you have to commit to a whole pint.
Yeah.
So that has helped tremendously figure out what you want to drink and then continue to drink, you know?
I'll do that. I'll try a flight of 4 or 5 different beers at 4 ounces apiece. You know, 'cause you pay by the you pay by the taster now, and I did it the other day. I took the one that I liked the most, and I went back, and what did I do? I bought a pint of it. And I said, I liked this one. Give me a full glass of it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a moneymaker.
And half pours are a good idea, too.
Yes.
I'm a very big fan of, like, 10-ounce pour, because Bearded Irish does that. They do 10-ounce pours so that if, you know, because they're constantly coming out, if you go into their brewery, there's going to be at least 2 that you haven't tried yet.
You know, okay, so this leads actually to another question. Super fun. Beer clubs, mug clubs, whatever.
Mug clubs.
The, like, we go and we get these half pours. We get these 5-ouncers, tasters, whatever. But why hasn't this brewery done a mug club like all these other places? I wonder. It's weird because I did a little bit of I haven't subscribed to a mug club, so I haven't had the full benefits of it because I don't just leave where I am to go somewhere to drink for a few hours.
Yeah.
It's all kind of technically out of my way in a sense. So I do want to experience it somewhere. Bearded Iris would be the one probably in my mind. Southern Grist, Bearded Iris or something. But it's weird, but
well, if I could play devil's advocate on that for a second.
Do this.
When you walk into a Bearded Irish, there's 2 beers that you haven't tried.
True.
Most likely. It's after work. Maybe sometimes you do want 2 beers. If they have so many different beers on tap and they're constantly rotating, are you going to want a full glass of a bunch of different beers? Or are you going to want half glasses, half pours, you know, because that's what they do. They do it. Well, you don't have to buy a whole pint. You can buy 10 ounces if you want, and it's only a couple bucks more than half price.
Right.
You know, so, and I'm willing to pay that. Is it worth subscribing to a mug club for Bearded Iris if I have to commit to a whole beer of something when they have a bunch of new shit that I haven't tried yet?
True, because then you're paying for what you want to taste, and then you're committing full into it.
And it's, I mean, maybe they've got, you know, these places that do have mug clubs, they have like 5 or 6 staples that are always on draft. Bearded Iris always has home style. That's it.
True.
That's the only one that is always on draft when you walk in. Home
they are
style
rotating.
Or offbeat. Everything else is a rotator.
Yeah. So some of the stuff I looked up about mug clubs are typically they do like 20 ounces for you because you got your custom mug instead of the 16, and you're still paying 50 cents cheaper than 16 ounces for 20. That's pretty cool.
It's a good deal.
But it definitely doesn't work for Bearded Iris if they only have home style and then they're trying to push their other mixture products for, I don't know, if you're, it just doesn't make sense.
If you're
for them
there to
yet.
try multiple beers,
Right.
you're not going to want to put it in your mug because you're not going to want 20 ounces of a beer that you haven't tried yet.
Right.
You're going to want 10 ounces of 3 or 4 different beers.
And that's really the main thing. If I was in a beer club, to get more beer for a cheaper dollar for a year. Mm-hmm. That's really what it's mostly about, right?
Yeah.
And typically, I guess it says there's like typically 4 events all year that are, included with a 10% discount on merch, and then free beer all day on your birthday is always good.
Oh, yeah.
But that's really, for normal people, 5 to 8 drinks versus some people that keep going.
Yeah.
But I guess we pay for their beers if we're a member. I don't know. That's interesting. So I guess that makes sense for Bearded Iris. That's a constant rotator of taps for their different experiments and whatever.
Again, maybe we're wrong.
Yeah. Very curious. I'd like to know, but
That was a good one.
That was. What are your final
tasty.
thoughts on Awesome Blossom?
It's better than the 2 that we've had today, the Again and Again and the Sunglasses Needed. I think this is a good welcome back to what I'm used to with Bearded Iris.
Those double IPAs, man.
They're just good at it.
They nail them.
Yeah. Let's rinse.
Attention, please. That's our next beer.
I don't know if that worked or didn't work, but it was good.
It did something.
Yeah.
So we've got Attention Please, brought to you by Richard.
This is our closer.
It is the double IPA, Pillowy Tropical Citra. Bearded Iris. So, okay. So Pillowy. That was that.
That was what we used, the description we used for Awesome Blossom.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
And was it on the can as well?
No.
Oh.
It wasn't.
So that's the thing with Bearded Iris. I never know what they're using half the time until I look it up, because they go Pillowy Tropical Citra. Obviously, one of these is not like the others.
They put 3 words on the bottom of their beer.
Yes.
Sometimes they're hops, sometimes they're not. And it's just kind of like it's a description of what the beer is going to taste like, and or the hops that are included in that beer.
Yeah.
What are you comparing?
All right, so here's a new thing they're doing.
Okay.
Can you hand me the Awesome Blossom?
Are you talking about the comments that they put?
Yeah, what is that?
That's not a new. I don't think it's a new thing.
I never caught it before, but Attention Please is suddenly I was awake.
Huh.
Yeah.
This one here is actually, I'm pretty sure this is a reference to The Office with Steve Carell. It says, Chili's is where business happens.
Nice.
So I think that was kind of
for Awesome Blossom.
Okay,
there you go.
Yeah,
now the
sense.
Connection is made.
Okay.
Damn
we
it.
both made that connection together. That's funny.
Damn it. So that was the thing. Okay, Sunglasses Needed.
What does it say?
The Crystal Pepsi of IPAs.
Okay. What's Again and Again say?
The Crystal Pepsi. Again and Again says, here's the thing. We started out friends. Again and again. I don't know. That was The Office. That was that. And Attention Please, we said. Okay.
I don't pick up on that. I don't understand. Maybe somebody can comment. So Again and Again. And then the text on the bottom where it has the date in which it was canned, it says, here's the thing, we started out friends. Is that a reference to a song? Says You've Been Gone by
Yeah,
Kelly
you're
Clarkson.
right. You're right. I typed in, here's the thing, we started as friends. And yeah, it's Kelly
I don't
Clarkson.
know what Again and Again is. I don't know. Maybe there's a connection to the two. Comment on our Instagram photo that we put on there. I don't know. I don't care anymore. But that was funny. We did pick up on the reference to Awesome Blossom with The Office and the Sunglasses Needed and the Attention Please. So
I was almost hoping Sunglasses Needed was for a Weekend at Bernie's reference.
Would have been a good one.
Yeah.
Would have been a very good one.
That would have been great.
They missed that mark. This is our closer for today. We've both had Attention Please, right?
Yes.
I mean, this is not the first time that they've released this beer. So
yeah,
I think
you're
we can
right.
just kind of... There's really not much to say about this beer other than it's always really good.
I know that's right.
There you go. Flashback to Dark Lord Day.
Yes.
Good old reference there. This is okay. So Attention Please was one of the higher ratings that I've given to a beer for Bearded Iris. It's super hazy. Juicy is probably also, but super hazy. And I'm always excited when this beer comes out because it comes out probably I don't know, twice a year.
Yeah.
And whenever it does, I always try to pick up a 4-pack just because it's one that they don't alter. They don't really ever change the recipe. They just come out with it.
Yeah.
And it's good as it is, so I'm going to try to pick it up whenever I can.
The release on it is always super anticipated here, just with the people who know, who know about it. And this is one of them that we've had today that actually keeps ahead for a while.
Yeah, it does. We poured it probably a good 30, 45 seconds ago, and we're still getting a good foamy head on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We got 2 different styles of glass here. One day we'll get consistent, but I don't know what the name of mine it's called. But it's retained the head a little longer than the one you've got that's typically used for stouts, right?
Okay.
I think so, because
Maybe,
it's got a snifter kind of
when you're
shape
drinking,
to it.
yeah, when you're drinking a stout or something like that, you're gonna want to breathe in while you're drinking it.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to get all the coffee and the chocolate. But IPAs are kind of becoming like that.
It
too,
is.
because they're becoming so flavorful on the nose, also. So I don't know. I mean, this is a great glass to drink an IPA in. It's a great glass to drink a porter or a stout. I think it's just an all around. It's got the wider opening up at the top because the lip kind of comes out a little bit.
It does.
I prefer this over the one that you're drinking, which kind of concaves in towards the top.
Right, and I think you kind of want that for more, not carbonated, but I'm trying to think of the word for it. It's just.
Well, it seems like there's more room.
Yeah.
So it's not going to spill over.
Yeah. But I mean, for all. There's no Rickyism for that I can think of. Intents and purposes.
For all intents and purposes. Seems like there should be.
I know. I feel like I'm missing something from that show. But, yeah. Let's. I'm going to go ahead and dive in as you are.
Gosh, that's so good. It's sweet.
They've really nailed that one.
Yeah, it's hoppy. It's sweet. Gosh, what is it sitting at? 8.2%. Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect alcohol content.
Yes.
For a double IPA. It stays with you, like that Bearded Iris taste that we talk about all the time is on the finish with this beer, and it just stays with you.
Man. And it is.
And it lingers.
Yeah. I think that's part of the pillowy they're trying to portray.
Okay. Possibly.
A pillowy portrayal of IPA. Sorry, everybody. But yeah, that's interesting. I am always impressed when I have attention, please. Mm-hmm. It's one of those consistent staples that I've grown to love from Bearded Iris, that when it does come out, I have to get it.
I'm looking it up to see when was the last time that I had it. So, 'cause unlike Mitch, I am consistent.
Yeah, you are.
With checking in my beers on Untapped. Matter of fact, Untapped just released an update.
Oh.
That allows you to, if you're following your friends and if you have your notifications turned on, like Mitch, I have your notifications turned on whenever you check in a beer. My phone buzzes and says, "Hey, Mitch just checked into this," or whatever. I'm a good Untapped friend, but the problem is I also like to check in multiple beers all the time.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just want to mute Richard, and people will actually say it's kind of like it's Saturday mute Richard notification. So one of the most recent Untapped updates, you can actually say, "Hey, go in and mute Richard for 25 minutes or for an hour," so that his notifications don't keep popping up.
That makes sense.
So
for the people who are regulars.
For the regulars, yeah. If they're constantly checking in, like me, I do tasters.
Right.
I go and I'll do flights. I'll do 2 or 3 flights in a place, and I'll just boom, 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 check them all in.
Right.
So, but I am a pretty good when it comes to checking in my beers. Mm-hmm. I keep a pretty good consistent log on it. Now, they've had their DDH versions before, which is not this one. This is just their regular one. Last time they released this one, I checked it in October of 2018, so it was a little less than a year ago.
I know I picked up a crowler of their DDH version this year. And
I think Vic's Secret was the one that they had. The dry hop with Vic's Secret hops.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was a good one, if I remember.
It was excellent.
Yeah.
There's not much. They are not trying to mess this one up. Mm-hmm. So whatever changes or additions they do or swaps with hops, they know it's going to be okay. I feel like they've done some testing. I don't know, but
okay.
Oh. Oh.
Here we go. Attention. This makes sense now. Attention, please, is an all Citra double IPA. It is single hopped with one hop, Citra hops, which is my favorite hop. That would explain why I like this beer so much. I never made that connection until I read the description just now. This is a double IPA all Citra from Bearded Iris, and this one is phenomenal, and that would explain why I like it so much.
That makes a lot more sense.
I have nothing else to say about this beer other than it's really fucking good.
Yeah, this is so this is what you would probably consider closest to the perfect double IPA.
Yeah, probably. There's always room for improvement, but
Yes.
I think that this is one of the higher rating Bearded Iris, and it shows just by looking at it. 4.25, 4.5. I mean, just every time I put this in, it's consistently a 4.5 or higher.
That makes sense. I'm going to agree with that. It doesn't disappoint. It always pleases. So that will probably conclude what we got, because we've got some other beers to drink and other shit to talk about.
Yeah. Actually, I think we're probably gonna go smoke some cigars, right?
That's true. So we may do a separate cigar segment soon. So please stay tuned.
If you're drinking beer, keep drinking beer. If you're not drinking beer, start drinking beer. If you've never had craft beer before, talk to someone who's had good craft beer. Don't talk to someone that's had shitty craft beer, because shitty craft beer does exist, and you don't want to take advice from people that like shitty craft beer. See you guys next time.